For other ships of the same name, see USS Franklin. The USS Franklin, nicknamed Big Ben, was one of 24 Essex-class aircraft carriers built during World War II for the United States Navy, and the fifth U.S. Navy ship to bear the name. Commissioned in January 1944, she served in several campaigns in the Pacific War, earning 4 battle stars. She was badly damaged by a Japanese air attack in March 1945, with the loss of over 800 of her crew, becoming the most heavily damaged United States carrier to survive the war. Movie footage of the actual attack was included in the 1949 film Task Force starring Gary Cooper. After the attack, she returned to the U.S. mainland for repairs, missing the rest of the war. She was decommissioned in 1947. While in reserve, she was reclassified as an attack carrier, then an antisubmarine carrier, and finally an aircraft transport, but was never modernized, and never saw active service again. Franklin and Bunker Hill were the only Essex-class carriers not to see active service as aircraft carriers after World War II. The Franklin was sold for scrap in 1966. The keel of Franklin was laid down on 7 December 1942, the first anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, and she was launched by the Newport News Shipbuilding Company in Virginia on 14 October 1943, sponsored by Lieutenant Commander Mildred H. McAfee, an American naval officer who was the director of the Waves. This warship was named in honor of the founding father Benjamin Franklin, and for the previous warships that had been named for him. It was not named for the Battle of Franklin, Tennessee, that was fought during the American Civil War, as is sometimes erroneously reported, although a footnote in the Franklin Comes Home does attribute the naming to the Battle of Franklin. Franklin was commissioned on 31 January 1944, with Captain James M. Shoemaker in command. Among the planconers was a ship's band made up of several enlisted men who were professional musicians at the time, including Saxy Dowell and Dean Kincaid, assigned to Franklin by lottery. Franklin steamed south to Trinidad for a shakedown, and soon thereafter, she departed in Task Group 27.7 for San Diego to engage in intensive training exercises preliminary to combat duty. In June, she steamed via Pearl Harbor for Eniwetok Island, where she joined TG 58.2. On the last day of June 1944, she sortied for carrier strikes on the Bonin Islands in support of the subsequent Mariana Islands assault. Her planes destroyed aircraft on the ground and in the air, gun installations, airfield and enemy shipping. On 4 July, strikes were launched against Iwo Jima, Chichijima, and Hahijima, hitting ground targets, sinking a large cargo vessel in the harbor and setting 3 smaller ships on fire. On 6 July, Franklin began strikes on Guam and Rotor Island to soften them up for the invasion forces that were going to land on Guam, and those strikes continued until 21 July, when she lent direct support to enable safe landing of the first assault waves. 2 days of replenishment at Saipan permitted her to steam in Task Force 58 for photographic reconnaissance and air strikes against the islands of the Palor Islands Group. On 25 and 26 July, her planes struck enemy planes, ships, and ground installations. The Franklin departed on 28 July and headed for Saipan, and the following day she was shifted to TG 58.1. Although high seas prevented taking on a needed load of bombs and rockets, Franklin steamed for another raid against the Bonins. On 4 August, her fighters attacked Chichijima and her dive bombers and torpedo planes attacked a ship convoy north of Totojima. Targets included radio stations, a seaplane base, airstrips, and ships. A period of upkeep and recreation from 9A circumflex 28 August ensued at Eniwetok, before she departed with Enterprise, Bellowwood and San Jacinto for neutralization and diversionary attacks against the Bonins. From 31 August to 2 September, strikes from Franklin inflicted ground damage, sank 2 cargo ships, destroyed enemy planes in flight, and undertook photographic surveys.